Okay, so we're going to continue from section 1, and we're going to do adding and subtracting radicals in this video. So we need to know that only radicals with the same number or variable can be added or subtracted. So for example, if I have a square root of x plus a square root of x, because they have the same number or variable underneath the radical symbol, they both have an x and an x, I can add or subtract the numbers in front of the radical. So this is like a 1 square root of x plus another 1 square root of x. So together, 1 plus 1 is 2 square roots of x. So as long as the root number, it's both a square root, both a cube root, etc., and whatever is underneath the radical are the same, then you can just add or subtract the number in front. So for example, if I have 2 square roots of 3 minus 5 square root of 3, these are both square roots, and they're both the square root of 3, so I can add or subtract the numbers in front. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3, and then I just put the square root of 3 on the end. Okay, if I have negative 5 square root of 2 plus 3 square root 3, the numbers underneath the radical are different. They're both square roots, but the numbers are different. So I cannot add or subtract these because they're not like terms. It's kind of like if I had a 5x and a 3y, I can't add those together. So we would just rewrite it as negative 5 square root 2 plus 3 square root 3. There's nothing I can do to simplify. Okay, so just keep in mind that only when the number or variable underneath the radical is exactly the same and it's the same root can you add or subtract the numbers in front. So let's look at a few examples. So all of these are going to say simplify. So I've got negative 3 cube root of 27 plus 17 cube root of 3. So the first thing I want to do is simplify each radical like we learned at the beginning of this section, and then I can see if I can add or subtract. So we're going to start by factoring 27. So I know that 3 goes into 27 9 times, 3 goes into 9 3 times, so it's completely factored. Because this is a cube root, I'm looking for 3 of a number. So there's 3 3's. So those 3's are going to come outside of the radical as 1 and will multiply times anything that's already out there. So negative 3 times our group of 3's, those will multiply together. And since I don't have any leftovers, I don't have to leave anything inside the cube root. So then we go to our second term, 17 cube root of 3. Well, the cubed root of 3 is as simple as it gets. There's nothing that multiplies times itself to equal 3. So we're just going to leave that plus 17 cube root of 3. So then I can just do negative 3 times 3 is negative 9 plus 17 cube root of 3. Then I would see if I can add or subtract these. And since there isn't even a radical with the first number, I definitely can't add or subtract it to the second number. They would have to be both a cube root of 3 to be able to add or subtract. So we would just leave it as negative 9 plus 17 cube root of 3. Okay, example 2, I have negative 2 square root 54 minus square root 54. So we're going to simplify the 2 first, and then we'll see if we can add or subtract. So I'm going to factor 54. I know that 2 goes into 54 27 times, and 3 goes into 27 9 times, and 3 into 9 3 times. So since this is a square root, I'm looking for pairs of numbers. So here's a pair of 3's. They're going to come outside of the radical as 1, and then the leftovers, 2 and 3, will stay inside. So the 3 that comes out is going to be multiplied times the negative 2 that's already there, and then the 2 and the 3 that are leftovers multiply and stay inside. So that's a 6 on the inside. Well, we just simplified square root 54, so it's the same thing here, minus 3 square root 6. So for the first term, we're going to multiply those together, so that's negative 6 square root of 6 minus 3 square root 6. Since these are both square roots and the numbers underneath are the same, I can add or subtract the numbers in front. So negative 6 plus a negative 3 is negative 9. And then I just tack on the square root on the end. So negative 9 square root 6. And this is as simple as this gets. Okay, for number 3, I have negative square root of 8 plus 2 square root 2 minus square root 18. So I'm going to simplify each one first, and then I'll see if I can add or subtract. So let's factor 8. Well, I know that 2 goes into 8 4 times, and then 2 goes into 4 2 times. So since this is a square root, I'm looking for pairs of numbers. So here's a pair of 2's that come outside and multiply times the negative that's already there. So this is going to be negative 2 and square root 2 because I had a leftover 2. Okay, the second term, 2 square root of 2, can't be simplified, so I'll just bring it down. Now we need to factor 18. So the square root of 18, we'll divide this out. 2 goes into 18 9 times, and then 3 goes in 3 times. So I have a pair of 3's and a leftover 2. So the 3 comes outside and is multiplied times the negative that's already there. So negative 3 square root 2. So now I'm going to collect like terms. I see that everybody is the square root of 2, so that means I can add or subtract all the numbers in front. So negative 2 plus 2 is going to cancel, and then minus 3 will just be minus 3, and then I put the square root of 2 on the end. So all of this simplifies to negative 3 square root 2. Okay, last one. So this looks a little crazy because we've got cube roots and there's a lot of terms, but we're going to simplify each one by itself, and then we'll see what we can put together at the end. So let's start with 2 cubed root of 16. So I need to factor 16, and I'm looking for a cube root. So 2 goes into 16 8 times, 2 into 8 4, 2 and 2. Cube root, I need 3 of a number. So here's a set of 2's. So those 2's are going to come outside and multiply times the 2 that's already there. So 2 times 2 on the outside, and we have 1 left over that stays inside. And notice I put cubed root of 2. Make sure you keep the little 3 there saying that it's a cube root. Okay, so let's go, and 2 times 2 is just going to be 4 square root, or cubed root of 2. Let's go to the next term, negative 3 cube root of 56. So 56, factor it out. 2 goes into 56 28 times. 2 goes into 28 14 times. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So I'm looking for a set of 3. So there's my 2's. So those come outside and multiply times the negative 3 that's already there. And then I have a leftover 7. So this is going to simplify to negative 6 cube root 7. Okay, the third term, I can't do a cubed root of 2. That's as simple as that term gets, so I'm just going to bring it down. The fourth term, I need to factor 189. So the cube root of 189, I know that 3 goes into 189 63 times, and 3 goes into 63 21 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So I circle what's the same, so 3 3's. Those are going to come outside and multiply times the negative 4 that's already there. So that's negative 4 times 3 times the cubed root of 7. Okay, so that third term is just going to come down. I didn't need to simplify it. The fourth term will be negative 12 cubed root of 7. So now that each term is simplified, we're going to see what we can add or subtract. Let's start with the cubed root of 2's. So they're both cubed roots. They both have a 2 underneath. It's a 4 minus 3. So 4 minus 3 is 1 cubed root of 2. Then I see my cubed root of 7's. So I look at the numbers in front. Negative 6 minus 12 is negative 18 cubed root of 7. Now if you want to drop the 1 in front and just write cubed root of 2 minus 18 cubed root of 7, that is the answer as well.